Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Wings Podcast. This is your host, Milind Agnihotri. On today's show, we will meet Akshay Agrawal from Guwahati, an entrepreneur passionate about the water sector and wants to raise awareness on the subject. He joined his family business SRK Metals and Plastics Pvt Limited in 2009, where he participated in executing more than 1,000 projects in Northeast India on water conservation and sewage treatment. The Ministry of Jalshakti Government of India has recognized this work with a national award in 2020. Cinema, fitness, and scuba diving are some of his other passions. Welcome, Akshay, to this episode of Wings Podcast.
Right. Hi Milan, thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited for this one.
Likewise, Akshay, the joy and pleasure is ours, and I'm so happy that we are doing this recording in person.
Right.
And though you are based in Guwahati, for a family marriage, I believe you have just traveled to Mahabaleshwar.
Correct.
And we just happened to speak around this time.
Right.
And on your way back I think you're traveling via Delhi, right?
I'm going to Delhi. I have a flight at 11:30 tonight. And just to meet you and have a conversation with you, I just stopped by Pune. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Akshay, we keep reading about discovery of life on Mars.
Right.
And I think we humans are deeply invested psychologically and scientifically to discover life outside of planet Earth.
Right.
And one evidence of that, which scientists and astronauts are always in search of, is to discover water.
Correct.
So water being so important for simply existence of life, and I think we are fortunate we live on a planet where almost 65-70% of the planet is filled with water.
Right.
And especially we live in a country like India, which is abundant with rivers. We have anything between 80 to 90 to 100 days of rains. Yet we also hear water becoming or is already a scarce resource. And the shortages are evident. We see water tankers being ordered just about just the onset of summer.
Right.
In most parts of India. So you and your organization has been working in the area of rainwater harvesting. How do you see the situation of water, and is it really a scary situation?
Right, Milan. So as soon as you talk about the Mars, it's funny that we talk about it because I remember a quote from yesterday itself. Bill Gates quoted for Elon Musk that your expedition to Mars is all a waste of money, because we shouldn't be spending money for other discoveries, but rather our focus should be on the planet Earth right now. The current situation with water is actually alarming, and all the data, stats, all the reports states that the future is not bright. If I can tell you a few examples, for example, the Niti Aayog by the government of India in 2018 published a report which states that by 2030, particularly India's demand would be double than the supply, than the water available. That is a big alarming situation. And even worldwide, with the rapid increase in urbanization and population, and the kind of water what we have. So first thing is the kind of water what we have, and the second bit is the quality of the water what we have. These are two different subjects altogether. The situation is grim for sure. And we need to pull our socks up and be more aware about the subject, around the subject of water.
So you come from Guwahati,
Ji.
a place which is blessed with the mighty Brahmaputra flowing nearby.
Right.
Is this challenge you see even in Guwahati, where you're born and raised?
Absolutely. So I wasn't very passionate about the water sector. It wasn't like, I was born and I was passionate about the water sector. It actually grew up on me, and how it grew up on me when I saw all the challenges we were facing in our own city per se. Uh, in Guwahati city, even though we are blessed with the mighty Brahmaputra, even though we are blessed with having one of the highest rainfall, like the northeast blessed with the highest rainfall in the country, we get an average of more than 1700 rainfall, which is a lot of rainfall. Still, there has been a water scarcity, what we could see while growing up, and that was the irony and pinch what led us to this field, particularly in the northeast itself, right? पहले पहले घर को सुधारो, बाकी फिर बाहर बाहर सुधार करते हैं, So that was the more school of thought where we came from.
So walk us through SRK Metals and Plastics. What is this organization? What is this family business of yours?
Right.
What is its genesis, and how did you happen to join in there?
To start my journey with, I was in a Don Bosco school in Guwahati. It was a day boarding school. Then I was blessed to go to a boarding school in Assam itself, called the Assam Valley. I think so. That school really changed my perspective about life per se, because that was the first step of me stepping out of my comfort zone. My boarding school actually made me the person who I am today. After that, I went to Bangalore for higher studies. I was in London for a year, and then I came back, I think so, in the year 2009, back to Guwahati. My father was always associated, he was a manufacturer. We used to manufacture PVC pipes and tanks. So in 2009, I joined that family business. It was interesting, it was because we had a whole ecosystem. Manufacturing is a own complex ecosystem and processes. After, I think so, after 3 years, we found that there was no satisfaction in this work, because there was like PVC pipes sab bana rahe hain, tankiya sab kar rahe hain, So in 2012 onwards, we were blessed in taking one of, like, how our journey started. That's what I'm coming into right now. So in 2012, we took one of the government official to Delhi, and we showed them a project of rainwater harvesting, how it is being done in Delhi. And that time, in that government's time, there was a scheme which where they were open to promote rainwater harvesting. So in that manner, we got rainwater harvesting. A project of rainwater harvesting sanctioned for around 4,000 schools.
This is for the government of Assam.
For the government of Assam.
Okay.
Right. That happened, and we worked around 700, 800 schools. There was a great, massive awareness around the subject of rainwater harvesting during that time. Right from scouting for location in which school or which Gram Panchayat or which Jila Parishad rainwater harvesting has to be done, right from the scouting till the implementation. That is how the whole journey and the whole process of rainwater harvesting or water conservation per se started for us.
Assam, correct me if I'm wrong, I've never been there,
Ji.
let me admit very honestly,
Ji.
though I look forward to visiting that beautiful state.
Right.
Assam, geographically,
Right.
is a very big state.
Mm-hmm.
800 schools across a vast state like Assam,
Right.
with its hilly terrain, etc.,
Right.
must have been a challenge on its own.
Right.
But love to hear from you any specific experience or a specific school project
Right.
that you still carry even after 10 years of the project being done.
Right. So one particular one instance, which was a very remote place in Assam, not accessible by road. What we have to do, we have the infrastructure. What we have to carry are basically pipes and tanks. And when we talk about the tanks, आप पकड़ो एक tank का diameter would be around say 3 to 4 feet. These are huge tanks we are talking about.
3 to 5,000 liters.
5,000 liters tank, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now we are carrying 2 tanks, couple of stages, like MS stages, so that it can be on a height, piping material, fitting material, no accessibility by road. The team, what they had to do, they had to get on a boat, go to the location, at the location they had the problem of electricity, So they had to wait at a good time when they'll get electricity. They had to stay there for 2 nights, yeah, and then come back by boat just to install at that one particular site. So जहाँ पर हम लोग का एक दिन में 3 या 4 साइट में काम होता है, that one particular site I remember very clearly, like it was, and for my team members it was more like an experience, like they were like कि आज तो बोट से गए हम लोग, लगा के आए वहाँ पर पानी का.
Did you go there yourself?
No, I did not. But yeah, I just have the stories from them.
But any of your personal expeditions where you had to go the distance and do the erection and at least supervise it while it's happening?
Right. So Assam is filled with forest areas.
Yes.
It is very rich in. It has a huge forest reserve. So there is this one forest area called Garbhanga. Normal गाड़ी नहीं जा सकती है. You need that proper 4x4, and only a forest car can go to that particular site. So what we did, the ranger of the forest department, he took us to that site. Very bad road. Like going there was really very difficult for us. So we reached to the site, we do a proper recce of the site, and we realized that even getting the materials there would be a huge pain. After reaching there, what we realized is, how the forest 4x4 got us there, the transport passenger car. We have to put the tanks on top of that and get it to the site, and that's how we got it solved. So that was quite interesting. So I've been to places where normally I won't go specifically for work.
And I believe you and your company, your family business, has also done work with some of the prestigious public sector units in Northeast, right?
Right, correct. So we have worked for Oil India, ONGC, Oil India. We have worked for a couple of central government institutes like PWD, Governors Building, and right now our works has been recognized, and we have been lucky enough to be consultants for Oil India. So they actually reach out to us if they want a proper designing. So we provide end-to-end solutions. So right from designing till implementation, if they get stuck with the subject of rainwater harvesting, we are their one-point solution in our region at least.
And what is the role that you specifically play in your family business?
Right. So I head the marketing and sales and business development, and specifically pitching into an idea of rainwater harvesting, water conservation, or water treatment. Like an idea, like when I talk about marketing and sales also, like I would like to admit that, initially, it wasn't a very easy subject to, the capacity building wasn't very easy. लोग को लगता था इतना बारिश हो रहा है, अभी भी ये सोच है. It's not like कि this thought has changed. But initially it was much more difficult. Right now it is becoming much more easier. The acceptance, I think so specifically after COVID, people have turned more inward and they have realized the importance of being self-sufficient. Now it is it is more easy for us to talk about or to implement such kind of projects.
So when you use the words self-sufficient,
correct,
the word that comes to my mind is the big slogan that has been put out today in India of Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Absolutely.
And a lot of promotion is happening on the theme of Atmanirbharta, or being self-sufficient.
Right.
Is that helping your cause?
Absolutely. I think so. It's a very well thought, and it is the way how it is how we are supposed to go. That is being self-reliant. What if a day comes, again hypothetically talking, that we are cut off from the world, like what happened in COVID, where there was no ration. That was the first of its instance we could actually feel that if we are cut off from the world, what are the problems we can face? आपको अगर याद हो, I don't know in Pune this happened or not, जैसे in Assam it happened, bread नहीं आ रही थी 3-4 दिन के लिए.
Okay.
There was no bread supply, and for people who are dependent on breads, eventually we at home we turned out to baking, everyone started being a baker. Correct. At home.
Yes.
So I think so being Atmanirbhar is a very beautiful concept, and we should practice it in whatever capacity we can. specifically if I talk about the water,
Yes.
In water, I think so. Our end goal, I'm shifting towards the end goal.
Sure.
Yeah. Our end goal should be, we should be aware about our own requirement and needs. When I talk about our requirement and needs, specifically what I mean is, if we have knowledge, we don't need to change the world, or we don't need to be an activist around water. अगर हम लोग खाली इतना जान सकते हैं कि हम लोग का पानी कहाँ से आ रहा है, सप्लाई से आ रहा है कि बोरिंग से आ रहा है, अगर बोरिंग से आ रहा है तो कितना लीटर आ रहा है, what is the capacity of water which is coming, how much water we are consuming, yeah, and later after the consumption, how much water are we is it going for a wastage. If these data points can be observed by us and we are aware of it, just the numbers I'm talking about, I think so it can be a great step, because acceptance is the first step towards change.
No, you're absolutely right, Akshay, because going back to the theme of self-reliance, or Atmanirbharta as we call it in Hindi, I think it's an invitation to question some of the things that we take for granted.
Mm-hmm.
For example, at least we in urban India, and at least in some of the semi-urban towns, the fundamental assumption is as soon as I open the tap, the water will flow.
Mm-hmm.
So the assumption that the water is always available,
Right.
to the extent of how much ever quantity I want it.
Mm-hmm.
And let me admit, there was a time when even when I used to shave, I used to keep the wash basin tap on
Right.
during the entire duration of my shaving.
Right.
Sounds foolish and stupid here, but yes, there was this advertisement that I saw, and it kind of opened my eyes. Not that I was not aware of it. It was just like I was taking things for granted.
Absolutely.
So,
Right.
so just as the input water that we take for granted,
Right.
I don't know, since you and your family business also works in sewage treatment.
Correct.
I think the other assumption, at least I have even today,
Mm-hmm.
is as soon as I flush my toilet,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what happens next.
Absolutely.
Is that also something that we need to be aware of as to what's happening to my sewage? Where is it going and how is it getting treated?
Right.
And what is it affecting me? I have no clue. It's a
Right.
black box for me.
Right. No, lovely, Milind. I think so. Right from your awareness creation, from like what you're giving the shaving example, that consciousness driving in. Specifically, sewage is a subject where we don't bother at all.
Mm-hmm.
We don't care about our sewage. Our only job is to excrete it. After that, what is happening to the sewage? Where it is going, how it is being treated, whether it's being treated or not, this is subject which is blind to our eyes. I think so a massive awareness is required regarding the subject of sewage. Like for example, what is the composition of sewage? What happens if a sewage sewage water goes to the river? Why do we say that sewage is bad for us? What are the effects? Like I can give you a few pointers out here.
Yeah, why don't you share maybe one of your sewage treatment plant projects that you have done?
Sure.
I mean, what was the problem statement?
Right.
And how did you all approach it?
Right.
And what was the outcome that got achieved?
Absolutely. We are blessed that the government has policies in place. Like any residential or commercial complex which consumes more than 10,000 liters a day, they have to install a sewage treatment plant. In books we are on point that treatment is required, but it is not happening. What most of the people is doing, most of the people are doing is they are putting all the wastewater in the septic tank. They think the septic tank is the solution for proper treatment of sewage.
Correct.
Yeah. Milind, just to pinpoint you that septic tank only treats around 30 to 40% of the entire treatment process which is required to safely dispose the sewage in the river.
You're talking about the solid waste.
I'm talking about the sludge, solid waste of the.
Sure.
Right. If I give you a data point, we approximately the last data was that India produces around 70,000 mld of sewage. Yeah. And our treatment, our operational plant capacity right now is around 20,000 mld. Only 30% of our sewage is being treated in India. The entire rest of the sewage is going to the river.
We are just hoping and praying that Mother Earth does the magic.
Absolutely. Yeah, but Mother Earth also has a limitation, because of the rising population, she can't cope up with the increasing demand and increasing throwing of the sewage. Mother Earth will get angry with us someday, and
No, it is. It is already getting angry. I mean, not that I am an expert on this subject,
Right.
but then I was talking to somebody who is into agriculture,
Right.
and she was talking about the deterioration of the soil condition, not only because of the chemicals and the pesticides that are being used,
Right.
but even the natural recharge mechanism of Mother Earth through using of bio waste. Itself, the cycle has gone for a toss.
Right.
But I guess that's a separate topic in itself. But coming back to the work that you are doing specifically,
Right.
Akshay,
Right.
In both offering rainwater harvesting solutions
Right.
in the state of Assam where you are based,
Right.
and also working in building, erecting, and setting up sewage treatment plants.
Right.
What about this work
Mm-hmm.
excites you as a person and gives you joy?
I think so.
I mean, apart from it being a viable, profitable commercial business.
No, I mean, so see, I think so. Yeah, we are not a non-for-profit organization. We are a for-profit organization, but I think so. The satisfaction of money only lies when you are creating something. So as a person, I believe I'm a creator. I love creating and ideating things, and if I can follow my vision completely, I think so. The satisfaction is well derived. And the most exciting thing around water is I'm solving problems right now. I'm in a space where people are facing problem, and I can be that bridge for them to educate them and to solve their problems. I think so. It's a very satisfying feeling.
So when you were graduating
Ji.
and finishing your education, you of course had your family business which was running.
Correct.
What were your dreams and aspirations in terms of work life or the kind of career you wanted to have?
Right.
In 2008, 2009 when you finished your graduation?
Right. Okay, so funny story, I always wanted to join Google.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like back from Christ College, I had this thing that, because Google is that creative agency, and the value addition and, the satisfaction mentally would be great if I do that. But that didn't happen, like I had to come back for work, family structure, family organization structure. It wasn't a very easy acceptance because I faced the difficulty of accepting back my hometown professionally. It was a journey because we went to manufacturing, and like Assam as a state is known as the state of Lahe Lahe. It was there in the back of the days, right? Right now the structure, like, because with the rapid industrialization and the rapid modernization, and with the current chief minister, I think so progress is happening at a very rapid stage. There is a lot of opportunities for everybody.
They don't have to leave the state of Assam.
They don't have to leave the state of Assam. The state is growing at a phenomenal state. So that gap of intellectual curiosity and as well as having that satisfaction of working, I think so it grew up on me. It wasn't like from day one I felt it, but it did grow up on me. And right now with internet and with the resources, we can have the best manpower from any part of the world to our state and get things done. So yeah, it's good.
So when you are in a family business,
Right.
Of course there is and with a very well defined offering in terms of rainwater harvesting solutions and sewage water treatment solutions.
Ji.
There is always the external challenge of any business is to locate, attract, get your customer. So basically sourcing business.
Right.
And of course executing projects and getting the money in and so on and so forth. Those are kind of external challenges.
Right.
What sort of navigation you had to go through inside your own organization over the last 10 years plus that you're working, where you had to calibrate your own thinking, your own actions, because unlike a corporatized business, there are roles.
Correct.
Very well defined roles, and there are systems and everything. And of course in family business also there are roles and systems, but yet the people at work are the same people back home. So you are probably working with one of the family members at work in a professional role,
Right.
but the same person is at home who is a brother or a father or whoever.
Right. Right.
That's not easy to navigate,
Absolutely.
to have delicate conversations, because everybody has their own way of doing things.
Absolutely.
So we had in one of our earlier episodes a guest who is a consultant in the family business space,
Oh, lovely.
and he spoke about how the family dynamics within the family is both a boon and a bane.
Right. Right.
How has this experience been for you?
Wow. Okay, I'm a strong believer in the fact that growth can happen only when you're uncomfortable.
Okay.
When you're comfortable, growth is possible, but I think so being uncomfortable challenges your boundaries in ways that helps you in exploring and discovering yourself. So, family business is a very safe space. It's a safer space, not a very safe space. It is a safer space than the challenge. One of the main challenge in family business is the challenging the old system and the old way of thinking, and if you have a different way of thought process, or like for example, I take my inspiration from my father. He has made us what we are today. But again, maybe because of his experience, he might be a little conservative in few approaches. It can be even marketing, or it can be taking few business calls, which we think that we can pull it off. And to ideate and to discuss, and get him on board is not a very easy thing. Like, no offense to him, but it gets challenging at times. So in these kind of situations, I think so. The risk taking ability at times can diminish in a family structure. So to have your role very clearly defined, and to be sure that decisions aren't seeked upon, and you have the autonomy to take the decisions entirely, I think so can be a great beneficial to family business. Like, this is strictly talking about family business right now.
Sure, but then again, I'm glad you're saying and acknowledging the contribution of your father who set up this business many years back, and you said that it's because of him. You said we are where we are today as a family.
Right.
Obviously, he conceptualized and created this business of SRK Metals and Plastics
Right.
in a context and an environment which was very different than what it is today.
Absolutely.
And the very fact that this business has survived now, how many years now?
So you can say almost 30 years.
So 3 decades. Right. So, if one was to look at one metric of what defines a successful business,
Right.
something which B schools never talk about, but I personally strongly believe in that metric, that simply being around for a long time itself is a sign of a successful business.
Right.
The fact that you have lasted 30 years,
Right.
is no joke.
Right.
And navigated this transition in an India which also has changed over the last 30 years.
Right.
from a license Raj era where everything was controlled by the government. You had to take license for just about everything.
Correct.
Even the production capacity was defined by the government.
Right.
To the extent that now it's a free market economy, you can raise your capital, you can scale up your business whichever size you want,
Right.
etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
This new thinking and the old thinking
Mm-hmm.
could be very symbiotic also, right?
Absolutely.
And not necessarily frictional.
Absolutely. It could be, but again, I think so. The clarity and definition of roles has to be there, because in family structures, what we see, and I think so, all the family management, business management courses also teach, is to have everything in written. A very simple thing. For example, when I say written, if option A happens, then A1 is the solution, A2 is the solution, and option B happens. If such kind of course is drafted upon,
But is the world so objective as
no,
such?
I mean, of course not. Of course not.
So, which isn't that then that makes the case, and I'm
Right.
just kind of
No, absolutely.
thinking aloud
Right.
that, of course, in a large growing business, role clarity is extremely important,
Mm-hmm.
and it can't be so black and white
Mm-hmm.
with things changing on a
Absolutely.
daily basis. Wouldn't that mean that the importance of interpersonal dialogue
Mm-hmm.
then becomes extremely crucial?
Absolutely. Absolutely, it does. And again, I think so. Communication is the key out here. Right now, I'm not challenging with the goods of the family business. There is a lot of there is a lot of security involved in family business,
Of course.
where people not from family business can miss out upon, for example. But the only my only concern, or maybe in my particular scenario, is that I think so the risk taking ability in a family business is lesser compared to entrepreneur from another domain or a first generation domain. A first generation domain will be a risk taker, right? A third generation entrepreneur would risk taking ability would diminish. Please correct me if I'm wrong here.
No, I mean, it can be argued either way.
Right.
There is a popular saying in India which says, "Kothi ki umar 60 saal,"
Mm-hmm.
which means the first generation builds it
Right.
through sweat and blood and whole lot of sacrifices.
Right.
The second generation, of course, reaps the benefits and probably adds value.
Right.
The third generation, I mean, there is enough and more statistics, we can discuss it offline,
Right.
which squanders all the good work done by the first generation and maybe the second.
All right.
And if you roughly take 20 years as each generation,
Right.
and take over 3 generations, because we had a fourth generation family business person on our podcast earlier,
All right.
which is the business is in the 80th year, and he was talking about how the number of family businesses that survive the third generation
Mm-hmm.
is less than 5%.
Wow.
And beyond fourth generation, the percentage goes under 1%.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, that goes on, but I guess you are the second generation in your family business, along with your brother, I think.
I have an elder brother, correct. That's
Correct.
absolutely correct. Right.
So I'm sure the two of you are kind of holding the reins of the business
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and crafting a vision for not only your business but for yourself too.
Right.
So what sort of vision that the two of you are co-creating or co-holding, at least for now?
We have this clarity, when we say like myself, my brother, and even my father,
Of
we
course.
we have this clarity that we want to be in the service sector, because in India there is a lack of professional service providers, and where we see ourselves is being the face for water. If you, Milind, on a personal note, face any problem in water, like, I would love to be the person you can call me anytime and, just discuss about water,
Mm-hmm.
And so our whole ideology is around solving problems related to water. And yeah, just even like, if you want to talk about water, the subject of water, because this, we are driven by that subject, we would love to do that.
And all I can kind of, intellectually, think is this probably the recession-proof business.
Maybe, right.
Because पानी है तो जीवन है,
Absolutely.
वरना कुछ नहीं.
जल है तो जीवन है.
जल है तो जीवन है.
Absolutely.
So, in addition to all this work that you do in your organization, what are the other passions that you are pursuing? What excites and interests Akshay Agrawal other than his professional work?
Right. Milind, I'm passionate about food a lot. Like, so while even coming from Mahabaleshwar to Pune, there was this place which I found called Kailash, or right?
Kailash Parbat.
Kailash Parbat, something. And they had this Maharashtrian rasa, which I
Yes.
tried for the first time, and I loved it.
Misal pav.
Misal pav, rasa, and I love trying local cuisines. I think so. India is so diverse in food and culture, and each region, like even the Northeast, we are from the Northeast. Northeast very diverse in food. All the 7 states have different cuisines. So food is one area of interest for sure. I like films. Nowadays I don't get time much, but film is one activity. I'm a certified scuba diver. Again, coming back to water, I love being in the water as well. I'm trying to, at least if twice a year I can go for diving. I think so that can be a great meditation for myself.
What are your my time moments like?
My time moments. So I journal. I journal my thoughts a lot. I meditate. I'm trying to reduce my social media usage. I'm guilty as much. I'm there on social media, and that having a balance of screen time is actually a real world problem right now. So yeah, I'm just trying to be more mindful of that. Maybe an outdoor activity on a Sunday. I love to travel. I make sure that at least I travel once a month at least. So I make sure of that.
And any plans to have your own family?
Oh, absolutely. So I'm actually getting married this May.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Right. And yeah, I think so. There's another turning point, a shift, so to say. So yeah, looking forward for that too.
Wonderful. So on this note, I think I wish you a great life ahead. Lots of success in your business.
Right.
And a rich and fulfilling life of moving from one to becoming two.
Absolutely.
So I have enjoyed this conversation a lot, Akshay.
Right.
Just want to hear from you. How has this experience been for you?
Wonderful. I think so. And having a in-person podcast with you, it has been exciting. There are a lot of points around water and around the subject of water, which I wish people are aware of.
Yeah, all those important things in life, as they say, we take it for granted.
Absolutely.
So once again, thank you very much for coming on this podcast.
Right.
Wish you good luck.
Right.
Take care.
Thank you, Manoj. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Right.
Thank you for your time today, my dear listeners. This is your host, Milind Agnihotri, signing off. Goodbye, take care, and stay safe. This podcast is for general information purposes only and should not be considered as a piece of any professional advice. Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of its guest. Creators of this podcast expressly disclaim any and all liability or responsibility for any direct or indirect, consequential or other damages arising out of any individual's use of this podcast. For feedback and suggestions, please write to wingsindia75@gmail.com. Thank you.